here's how I landed my first client on Twitter last year. The best part about this was that I did not have a big following. I didn't have any experience, so I didn't have any case studies or testimonials, and I didn't do any cold outreach because I didn't want to do a cold outreach. So I just tried to find a way around it, and I did, honestly. So what I'm about to tell you is basically what I learned from the program, as well as my own spins to things, also concepts that I learned from Russell Brunson, basically, that I also implemented. So it's kind of like a mix of all of this and my own personal experience. So first one is creating an attractive character. It's safe to say that this is the one thing that I can attribute most of my initial success to on Twitter, and even now, it's the same thing. And what it is basically creating somewhat of a persona online. I'm sure one of the first people that came to mind is Andrew Tate.
Times. I am extremely versed in CPR. I do know how to administer CPR. However, I will not administer CPR unless you're a hot female.
So you have like this character that you have, and it could have like whatever character traits you assign to this person. But keep in mind that you're not creating someone. You're not like being fake or anything like that. You're not going to be somebody that you're not. You're going to be yourself, but you're just going to be intentional with how you portray yourself to the world, right? So let's take me as an example. It's going to be easier to explain. Back then, I was this kid, a 16-year-old kid who was new to online business and that was on a mission to retire my mom, right? So there were a lot of stories behind all of this, a lot of reasons why I was doing all of this. So you want to create this character which people will follow you for. People will begin to love you for, basically. And you create this character by having stories, right? So you're gonna have like your backstory, your origin story. You're gonna have stories in your life which helps you illustrate certain points and certain lessons that you want to teach people. And the point of this basically is to show some kind of transformation, whether you like whether you intentionally do it or not. Really, there's always going to be some kind of transformation in these stories. So you're showing people that you were once at some kind of low point or undesirable point, and you were able to get to a point where other people want to be, right? So you're showing people that you were able to go from point A to point B. And so now it's like, they're like, okay, so if he could do it for himself, he could probably teach me to do it. And I can do it now as well. So they kind of like start to have faith in themselves as well. So that's the idea behind the attractive character, right? I recommend reading Russell Brunson's book on this, Expert Secrets and .com Secrets. It's where I learned it in the beginning. And if you implement it, the results speak for itself, honestly. So that's the first part of it, right? It's like stories and things like that. But it's also your opinions, your beliefs. You're going to be ideally, right? Not everybody's comfortable with doing this, but you're also going to be talking about your mistakes, your flaws as a person, basically. Whatever struggles you're dealing with. Try and be as transparent as possible, but also authentic, right? So you need to be your authentic self. So that's the first part, right? And in my case, what happened was that I posted a tweet about how I wanted to make $500 that month in June from freelancing, because my mom at the time was it was COVID, right? I don't know if I can say that word, but it was COVID, and my mom was gonna work a lot less that month for the first time. So she told me that we were gonna be low on money and everything. So I thought $500 would be like probably double her salary at the time, 2-3 times her salary or something. So yeah, that was basically my goal for the month. And everything that I did, all the content that I posted, and yeah, my entire intentions for the whole month was to make that $500 basically, so that I could help my mother out, And along with this, I also created a story of how I wanted to retire my mom. People followed me for that. They wanted to see me win, basically. And because of this, believe it or not, that single tweet that I posted, where I was like, I want to make $500 this month and all that, it actually got me my first client. It wasn't some kind of like authority post or whatever, where I like shared value on like my expertise, I like birds, or like where I like created a case study or something like that, or some kind of breakdown of a landing page or funnel that was successful. It was just that tweet. He DM'd me after that and he asked me to create him a few landing pages for his startup. That's how I got him. And so of course you do need to post like authority building content, things around your expertise so that people can actually see that you know what you're talking about. But if you do this on top of that, it'll just make it like so much more effective. I don't see people like really intentionally doing this enough, and I think it keeps them back quite a lot. So that's the first part, right? Second part is avatar journaling. So I recently just wrote a thread about this on Twitter as well. Avatar journaling is basically just taking some time to create your customer avatar. And that is basically your dream customer, the person that you would want to work with, even if you weren't getting paid for it, really. Like, they're an absolute delight to work with. So that could be based on like their personality, that could be based on their circumstances, like are they already an established business, are they already making money compared to like being a brokey? Are they, whatever that might be, right? So you need to decide. You can decide that if you don't have much experience, like I did at the time, you basically just write for your past self, and this is gonna apply to your content and your copy basically. And by your past self, I don't mean like if you're a business owner, of course, you're not gonna write about like, you know, like how you were like skinny and depressed or something. Although you could weave that in certain places, but I mean more so like, if in my example, let's say right now, I could write about how I used to like spam cold DMs all day, you know, and then I'd get like these cold, uninterested responses from doing that the entire day, which I hated, which is why I created like this whole method of getting clients online so that I don't need to send cold DMs basically. That's creating content for my past self. So I can take all of the pains that I had back then, all of the desires, all of the fears, the frustrations and all that, and I put it into my copy and my content. And that's what basically speaks to that one ideal client, that one dream client basically. And it's gonna make them feel like you are speaking to them because you're speaking about the current situation they're in, right? So what I did was I just took some time to research this person. I didn't have any experience at the time, so I just had to kind of think about it myself and like just scour the internet and find some information. How you can do this is do market research, right? Go on a few calls with some people who you think is your client and offer them like a free consultation or something, offer them an audit or something like that. And basically just try and understand them, understand their pains, their struggles, their frustrations, their dreams, their goals, you know, so that you can kind of break those things down and add it to your copy and your content. So that's really what was after this initial period, right? So the first client I got was because of like creating the attractive character, right? On top of the other like value I had on my profile that showed that I knew what I was talking about to a certain extent. Like I didn't have any experience, but still. And then the second client I got, I'll never forget this. This is what like made me start to take this so seriously. The second client I got on a call with him, on a sales call, right? He was also an inbound lead. And I asked him, like, why did you decide to get on a call with me? Because there's a lot more experienced people on Twitter, right? That have been doing this for longer than I have, that are better at it than I am and all that. And he told me that he got on the call with me and he decided that he wanted to work with me because he read my landing page and he said that it felt like I was speaking to him. I don't have any pictures of what my landing page was like at the time, but I had like this bullet point part, which is called like a lead. And it basically outlines the current struggles that your ideal client or your prospect, let's just say, is currently dealing with, that, or the things that they want out of your service or out of whatever you would do for them, you know? And since that day, I've taken this so seriously because that was such an eye-opener to me, you know? And ever since I started doing that, I've had like similar encounters over and over and over again, basically. People telling me that they wanted to work with me because they felt like I understood their situation exactly, you know? So that's how you're gonna do this. You're gonna use that, all of these things. So like I said, dreams, frustrations, fears, desires, whatever that might be. You're gonna use it in your copy and your content to speak directly to them, to speak to their pains. Tell them that you understand where they are and that you understand where they want to be at, basically. Try and agitate the pain as well. Make it seem, yeah, I was gonna say make it seem worse than it already is, but make it seem bad, you know? Make them understand why it's such a bad thing. Don't be afraid to do that. So that's the second part, right? I hope you understand everything so far. Are you still with me? Okay, cool. So third part, which is final part, is having a funnel. So I had a landing page, like I mentioned, that people could book a call with. I had a Calendly link on there. I wrote the copy myself and everything. So I had a landing page. On top of the landing page, I also had an email list. So I had an email sequence with a bunch of emails. I think it was like 5 emails. I also just copied Russell Brunson's, soap opera sequence in his book, .com Secrets. Again, highly recommend you get the book. So I had a 5-day email sequence as well. And basically what this does is it automates a lot of the process for you, right? So you're gonna create content, you have your landing page in your bio, and you can plug it at the end of your threads or your tweets, your YouTube videos if you want to do YouTube and do this. It doesn't really matter what platform you're on, the process is still the same. So then once they go through your content, they really kind of like you, they like what you have to say, hopefully. And then they'll start to like scour a bit deeper, into your profile, try and find out a bit more about what you offer and all this stuff. So then they go through your landing page and they read your copy. They see that you did a good job at creating an avatar, basically a customer avatar. And now they're like kind of sold on your services, your philosophy, your message, basically, that you want to present to the world. And they can just book a call with you on there. Or if you're kind of like limited on time and you maybe already have a decent flow of clients, you can just have like a application form on there, basically like a Google form with a bunch of questions, and then they just send it to you and you review the questions and then you manually send them the call or something. So that's how you can do that, basically, and how it helped me. The first 6 clients I got were inbound, and all of them came through my landing page in the way that I just told you now, basically. So honestly, it's really an important part about this, especially if you don't want to rely on DMs, like manually doing things yourself. It's gonna be a really crucial part in this. And also, it's just leaving money on the table if you don't have a landing page, right? It's gonna take some time up front, but then it's gonna work for you for the rest of your life, or as long as your business stays the same, at least, and your offer stays the same. And then the other thing is the email sequence. Same logic applies here, really. You can have mine is 10 days right now, so it's 10 days back to back that I send people emails when they join my list, which is down below if you want to check it out. You'll learn more about client acquisition and all that, but then you can also have a look at like what I do in order to sell people on there, just to be kind of transparent. So you have the email list now as well, so you can plug this at the end or in the middle of your content, basically. And this is like kind of like some secret sauce, right? You should try and plug it in the middle of your content as well as at the end, right? Because people tend to a lot of people won't make it to the end of your content because of their attention spans, or they might just lose interest in what you have to say. So if you plug it in the beginning of not in the beginning, maybe in the beginning, but in the middle of your content, let's say, and you can like smoothly transition it into something like kind of like, how like YouTubers have like these really smooth plugs that just flows nicely into the video. It's something similar to that, basically. If you can do that, it'll probably like 2x the amount of conversions you get, or at least the amount of visitors that you get onto your landing page, onto your email list, form, sign up, whatever you call it. So that's basically what it does. It basically will convey your message, convey your philosophy, because people are not just buying your services or your product, they're buying you, they're buying your philosophy. You're going to tell them about your stories, how you got to where you are, why you do what you do now, what struggles you had at the time. You can talk about some client success stories, how they succeeded following your philosophy, doing your method of doing things and all that. And that'll basically get you sales on autopilot. It's something that you just need to do once, and then you can use it for the rest of your life to get sales, like while you're like hands off in a way. You don't need to do anything after that besides get traffic. And that's really it, honestly. If you can just get enough traffic and have all of these 3 things in place and do a decent job at this, and like maybe just like send some DMs to like people that seem interested in your content, that you constantly see, like leave comments or like your posts, retweet your tweets, or like if you're on LinkedIn, whatever people do on LinkedIn. So I know a lot of people in the SMMA space say that, you first need to like send emails and send DMs and stuff like that, so you can get a reliable flow of leads before you can start doing inbound, before you can start relying more on inbound, because it takes a while to build a personal brand. They are right, but if you do it properly, it's not going to take as long as they say. I mean, you literally just heard me speak about it. It took me 4 weeks to get a client from the content that I was posting. So it's not gonna take like 2 years, bro. Like, unless you're kind of an idiot, sorry, or like you just don't know what you're doing and you're a beginner, then it's not gonna take that long. If you want to learn more about this, about like my teachings, my philosophy behind all of this, join my email list down below. It's one of the links in the description. And if you're new to online business and you want to get started with all of this, I have a link to Modern Mastery, Dan Coe's course that I talked about. There's a landing page, you can read all of that. If you're in the position that I was back then, or like even now, how I feel about things right now, you'll understand what I mean. It's gonna feel like he's speaking to you in your current circumstances. So you can also go and study that if you want to. But yeah, check out Modern Mastery. It's really good. It's $27 a month for a community, access to like Dan himself, who has like, I don't know, like 300,000 followers on. He has like I think like over 1.5 million combined following by now. So you can speak to him yourself on Discord. I spoke to him a few times on there. And you get access to like a bunch of different resources and courses and things like that on like client acquisition, building a personal brand, all these different things, how to create an offer and everything. So yeah, highly recommend you check it out. And that's it for this video. Let me know what video you want to see next. And yeah, just leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one.